We've been on this program for quite some time, and over the past periods, we've been looking at various issues concerning the Rotary Club, what the Rotary is all about, how they came to polio plus eradication, the roles of the clubs, the Rotary Foundation, what Rotary itself does, membership of the Rotary Club, and the funding of the Rotary Club. That's what we've done over the previous editions. And in the last edition, we were looking at the dangers of self-limitation. And today we want to go a step further by looking at how you can plan for your retirement. Planning for retirement. My name is Adefemi Mapadem, your anchor on the program. And I have with me on the program this evening, Rotarian Taiwo Akinola, a past president of the Rotary Club of Bodija Estate. You are most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
This evening, as I said, we want to talk about planning for retirement. Whatever it is, if you are in the public service, it is always known that when you attain the age of 60, you have to retire. Or if you spend 35 years in service, you have to retire. The same thing may not be applicable in the private sector, but at a certain time, you have to retire. So how do you now plan for retirement? When do you start planning for retirement? What are the components that you must look at when you are planning for retirement? That is what we are discussing on the program this evening. Rotarian Taiwo Akinola. Retirement. What actually do you mean by retirement before we now start talking about planning for retirement?
Yes, retirement is the mandatory age that which a worker who works for an organization, be it private, public, would have been seen as that he has done enough, he deserves rest. Because we cannot continue to work for the rest of our life because of aging and what comes along with it. So when we talk about retirement, we are talking about that age that you are expected not to be in full active service again, either for a private organization or for a public or government institutions or parastatals.
Let me take you up there. You said full active service. What does that connote?
Well, you know that the average working hour of each person, except senior executive, is 40 hours. We expect per week. We expect you to do that. So generally we believe that. But you know, for chief executives and high-level organizations, they of the various organizations, be it private or sector, they put in more than that because of responsibility. But at least what we are looking at is that, the normal 8 hours a day, when you are fully engaged, is what we look at as your active hour, that your active time that you will put into the service of your organization. Now, a lot of people are usually afraid. That's even the most interesting thing. There's the fear of retirement. And because of the fear of retirement, some people tell lies.
Falsify their records.
They falsify their record. Their age, they will falsify it because they feel that, if they are in the engagement of an organization, be it private or public, they will still be
earning an income
there. So that makes a lot of things go wrong. And you know, the system is such that we are turning people out every day in the university, the polytechnic, in different walks of life. Even people who have gone to learn trade, or people who are doing apprenticeship, they have to come out, they have to have places to work. But a situation where that people generally are falsifying age, they don't want to leave their post, they are telling lies. You will see some people in public service, they are not supposed to be there. Some of them, you see them, they are shaking. And you see them in some private organizations as well. You will see some people and you'll be asking, what is this man still doing here? And it is because the average man usually forget to plan for his retirement.
When you say planning for retirement, when do you start planning for retirement?
Yes. The most interesting part of this is that if you have been opportuned to have been properly taught, your first day at your work, the day you get a job, should be your first day that you should be thinking of, when do I want to retire? When do I have to do it? Because if you look at it straight from that perspective, anybody that understands how life is planned will know that the day you pick your first letter of employment, you should ask yourself, what are my plans for my life? Now, if you enter as a fresh graduate, you might need to go ahead and still study more while you're working. And again, your organization will say, maybe until you are put in about 3 or 4 years, you will not be entitled to a study leave or things like that. You will look at all these things and put it in. So ideally, if somebody has been properly taught, properly schooled, it should be from his first letter of employment.
But the euphoria of being employed, of coming into employment, can that even make anybody think of retirement?
Yes, that's why I said if you are properly schooled. Now, for any listener today, it sounds strange that why should I just get a job and start thinking of retirement? But if you listen to this program till the end, you will now see that it's supposed to be a good thing for me to start planning. Because when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now, look at our environment, for example. What's now the average graduating age? Now it's between 23, 24. Before, it used to be about 27, 28. Now, if somebody graduates at the age of 23 or 24, at least after you've done 5 years in any employment, you are no longer a greenhorn. At that time, you should be conscious of your life, what you want to be. You should know whether you want to be a professional or you are just doing an occupation. You will know whether at this stage of your life you want to really follow professionalism, become an expert in your chosen field or your occupation, or that I'm only here trying to gather money, trying to gather experience, then there is something I can go and do after a while. So those are the things that so generally we will say between the age of 23, 24, that's when
You start
it was
planning.
planning, or 29, 30. Maximum, if you have forgotten, you should have started by the age of 30.
Looking at the present state of Nigeria, where income is static, where things are not just moving as it is, and where you expect people to put some money aside towards their retirement, how feasible is this?
Well, the truth about life is that just like the economics, that is, the resources will always be scarce. It is a matter of your determination as a person that will determine whether you will move on or not. The situation is not friendly. We can even say it's a bit harsh. But like that man said, tough time doesn't last. It's tough people. You are the one that will make up your mind, and you will have to pay a price. You will have to make some sacrifices for you to attain anything. Anybody that has attained anything good or great in life paid a particular price. Some even skip a meal and a half. Maybe they just only have one good meal. The second one is even a half meal, if there's anything we can call that. And keep that money and save it or plan it towards what they are doing, towards anything you want to achieve in life. So when it comes to this, you need to look at it. Oh, what do I do then? So the issue should be, how can we plan for retirement? The next one is that the first thing you should consider for somebody that has been opportuned to have a gainful employment or that has a profession. You know, there's a difference between
the two, yes.
Yeah, the occupation and
profession.
Yes. The first thing you should think is that I want to retire. Can I continue what I was doing? It might not need to be a full-time all those hours that I used to do. Especially if you are a professional, especially if you have become an expert. That is, you might need to just give some few hours, which we'll call quality hour, because if you have now become an expert in your own field, and just do one or two things. That's one of the first ways you look at it. You have to also look at, when you are planning for, there must be certainly the financial aspect.
Of course.
So right now in the country, before 20 years ago, we didn't really have, apart from the one that government were really doing the gratuities and all those ones, we didn't have the PENCO.
We now have contributory pensions,
which makes it better for people now than before. So you have to engage and do it religiously. Some even go out of the contributing one done by the company and still go to other insurance company and still do some. These are what you have to plan for. But the most interesting one should be to look at something that can generate money. Because whether you have an income set aside, paid to you by an insurance company monthly, because of inflation can eat it up, can make a nuisance of it, especially like we are having hyperinflation right now. So you still have to think about what services can I render. Now again, in retirement, is not only about the finance. We are talking about having yourself together. If you look at it generally in our life right now, when most people who've been employed for 35 years, 25 years leave service and they don't get something to do, you see that most of them, their health deteriorates. I have seen so many people who had worked in blue chip companies. The moment they retired, they sit down and they don't know what to do. And you know why that happens to them? The moment you are going in the corporate ladder, as you are going up the corporate ladder, as you are climbing the triangle of organization, as it's getting steeper, and you are getting better benefit, better remuneration, you are also losing touch with how to even employ junior staffs. Because middle-level managers have taken that responsibility for you. You are only formulating policy with consultants and just doing approvals. So when you retire, some of them are faced with the issue of, how do I even fuel 2 cars at the same time? How do I pay for my driver? Some of them don't even know how to pay for power bills again. All this, if you've been there up high, you will just find out that, oh, how do they even pay my bills? Because your paraphernalia of office, your position has paid for it. Then, now a lot of them would, especially people who graduate young and they spend 35 years and is still there at 60, is still able and everything. The question most of them goes with that, they don't even know what to do. They don't know where to start from. Yes, they might not have financial issues. Then they will develop health issues because they didn't plan for retirement. They didn't know what to do. And that's
but the other issue that we always see is that there's always a drop in the standard of living.
yes, it did what stand for some people. You see, for some it won't be
Noticeable.
it won't be a physically noticeable issue.
Yes.
For some it will be. For example, except maybe the PS, permanent secretaries, and some maybe generals in the army, or some people that retire on full salary, or judges or so that we understand they retire. Most people don't retire on full salary. And again, when you are working, there is traveling allowance, overseas this, ESTACO that. There are other things that come along. Legitimate. I'm not talking about things that
legitimately,
are not
yes.
legitimate incomes and everything. There is leave allowance, bonuses,
ESTACO,
yes.
yes.
There is also in the private sector bonuses that are incredible. Now, when you remove all those from the package of anybody and he goes home and he doesn't have anything to do, and you know when you are not occupied, you tend to eat more, drink more, and again you are available for family and friends to come and milk you. So those are the things. Then because you are not challenged mentally, so a lot of things will just be deteriorating, and that is why one needs to look at it. So we encourage some people to create cooperative society, join societies, cooperative society, buy shares and stocks.
Even in this economy,
you might not buy too much, but you might still buy some. Some people bought, at least up to 10 years ago, the economy was still not as buoyant. But there are some shares that some people bought 10 years ago, and today the value is still something. You don't know what can happen or what cannot happen. So they have to start looking at what they can do. Not only because of remuneration, but to be active, to keep body and soul together,
and live a healthy life.
So the other one is everybody has a dream job that you are thinking of. Some people are lucky that they actually worked in their active year at their dream job. They don't have a problem. Some people are lucky that their profession, the older they are, it is better. Take for example, lawyers and maybe surgeons.
The older they are,
the better they are. So for those in those kind of businesses, those kind of fields, those kind of professions, it's okay. But what about the others? What about people who have to now look at what they have to do? So they have to look at what is their dream job. They have to think about practicing their previous occupation.
So in essence, we are saying that preparing for retirement is like a whole package, as it were, that is something you begin right from the onset and you keep working at it.
As you are moving the corporate ladder, you should also be planning that one day I would not be doing this. What will I be doing?
Well, this is Rotary Half Hour from Impact Business Radio, Rotary Club Half Hour, sponsored by the Rotary Club of Bodija Estate. I have with me a past president of the club, Rotary Amutajero, and we'll be talking on preparation for retirement. You can be part of us. The numbers to call 0811 052 6487, 0811 052 6487, or 0916 104 7698, 0916 104 7698. Preparing for retirement. You just broached a subject. The fear. Is it the fear of the unknown, or the fear of the present, or the fear of whatever? Why is this fear that way?
Yeah, You see, for various environments, the fear is quite different. Here in Nigeria and maybe African countries, because our system is not properly planned and our system doesn't really plan for us, the fear of what will I eat tomorrow, how will I survive tomorrow. And one of our own retirement plan here as African is making sure we take care of our children educationally. A lot of us unconsciously, psychologically says, oh, let me ensure that my children, my cousins, my brother, my younger ones, let me make sure that I put them properly in the right place, put them properly, so that tomorrow, if there is a need, there will be somebody to lean on. Now, the fear of retirement in advanced country might be about boredom. The system has been properly planned for them. They don't really face too much of hyperinflation like this. And again, the culture also affects it. Take, for example, here. While you are living an active life, raising your children, you get a big house. You build a big house, 5-bedroom, more, and a co. By the time you are retired, in most cases for most people, you are left only with you and your wife. But you see, there's a limitation that our culture places on us. Our culture does not really allow you that you should go and sell your property at retirement. And that is one of the problems.
Sell the property?
Yes, and buy a smaller one. But the advanced world, the moment the man is about retiring from his 3-bedroom house or 2, he moves to 1 or 2. Now, wouldn't it be interesting for somebody in Nigeria? It's like people will assume he already has a problem. If he decides to sell his duplex and now go back to a 2-bedroom apartment. And the truth about life is this: how many of us will our children come back to? It's difficult for us, except maybe occasionally for maybe 88th, 75th birthday.
They don't even want to stay with you.
No, they are going to stay in hotel because of modern times. But that you can even have them all together again. It's just that this will come at this other time, and the other will come at the other time. But yet you carry the burden, the weight. Now you have to pay for a lot of house help
maintenance
to maintain their house out of a retirement income. For a house that was functional when you had 4 children with you, they all had their rooms, they had what they were doing to clean their house, you didn't need. Now, at your old age, you are still going to be planning to do it. That's why some people, they just get to their house, they will tell you, I've not been to this part in the last 6 months.
And you wonder what's happening.
Yes, but it's the culture that is the limiting factor. But for a foreigner, and somebody in the advanced country, it doesn't have a problem. The system knows the man will sell, he's going to go and buy a smaller one.
Apartment.
Now the money that he makes is going to add to his retirement savings, is going to increase the quality of his life.
And perhaps go on vacation.
But yes, he will be able to go on vacation, go on a cruise and so. But a situation where you are bothering yourself, take for example, we understand that they are going to increase power again, the cost of diesel and everything has gone up, and you are there at a retirement, you now need to burn generator maybe for 12 hours. How will you cope?
This is a subject we have to revisit, because right now I can see that we are actually running out of time. Planning for retirement. How do you plan for retirement? What is this fear about retirement? And how can we ensure that we get out of these and perhaps see that we settle ourselves properly before retirement comes? I have to thank you for coming, sir. We still revisit the subject.
Yes, we've not even finished.
Because time has gone, so we have to revisit this subject.
Yes.
You promise me?
Yes, we will be here for the next one.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My studio manager, Ibr92.5FM, I want to thank you. I want to thank Mr. Jao for also being here for us on the